congratulations. Very few people have got to the number 300. I know you were saying another milestone is more and more. You know, you've had 250, then Sydney FC record, and now 300 Sydney FC games. So what does that mean to you?
Obviously it's a huge honour. I think, to play 300 professional games is a pretty big honour. Then to do it for one club, and that club to be Sydney is pretty special. I think I say it nearly every time I've done stuff like this for a different milestone, but it feels like the last 12 months to 18 months there's been a few milestones all sort of in the one sort of area or time frame, I should say. So obviously it's a awesome record to hold, and hopefully I can keep playing more games and push even further. But I'm just pumped to still play for such a good club and try and get us back to the top of the table, or back to where we belong, and playing good footy and up the top.
And when you look back at when you made your debut as a 17-year-old and you moved from the AIS, like at what point did you realise that, hey, maybe I can actually, do this for a living?
Maybe prior to the AIS, I just loved playing football. I didn't really see it as a career option, although I didn't have much else. Then obviously when I came to Sydney FC and was part of the youth team setup, and then broke into the first team and played a handful of games. After that, I think for the next few years it was just about playing as many games as I could and trying to get that next contract. And thankfully enough, it sort of all worked in my favour. I got a bit lucky at times, and then obviously fast forward 15 years and here I am.
What point would you say that you were like, that was where you saw, hang on, I'm actually going to make a career out of this? What was the turning point for you?
To be honest, I don't think it came until I was a little bit older. Probably, I might be wrong in saying, I think about 21. I had played consistently throughout the season. I think I played 5 or 6 different positions that year. I didn't sort of knuckle down one, but I was always in the team. And I had a pretty successful year. Even though the team didn't, I thought I had a pretty good year. I think I played for the All-Stars that season, and then mixing with those players and sort of holding my own in the A-League is probably when I thought, I could really kick on. I didn't know how far I could go or if I would ever play for my country or anything like that. It was more just, I can hold my own here and sort of push it in the A-League. And I sort of hung around for as long as I have.
And is there one moment that you in particular are very fond of? I know you've scored big goals in big games, but what for you stands out as the moment that kind of summarises what's got to you to this point, whether it be a moment at training or with your family or whatever? What for you is that moment?
Oh, it's really hard to sort of pinpoint one. Like you said, I've had a few special moments in big games, which have been awesome. I think looking back, I can't really pinpoint one. I think I might have said it before in the past, but I think if you look at how many friends I've made at Sydney FC, some of my best friends that I'll have for life have all come from this change room. So there's still boys there now that I'm really good mates with, but there's boys that have left for 5, 6 years, 7 years, where we don't see each other every day, but I still consider them a really good friend or a best mate. So I think, football aside, I think that's probably the biggest thing I've got out of it. I've made really good friendships, and I've still got a few more years hopefully here to sort of build more friendships. But I think, if you're sort of taking the football side away from it, that would probably be the coolest thing I could take out of it.
And you've been with the club a lot. Did you get many offers to play elsewhere, or was there ever a thought for you to, hey, maybe I can try my luck elsewhere, maybe I'm getting a bit tired of playing at Sydney? Like you said, you've got mates who have then moved on to other clubs. Was there a point where you thought, maybe I'll look elsewhere, or have you received offers elsewhere?
I think maybe when I was younger and I was sort of in and out of the team, there was a few different opportunities, but nothing really jumped out at me and said that would be a better option than playing for Sydney FC. I knew, like I said, I was in and out, so I could have maybe chose to go somewhere else and try and play a bit more football, but when I sort of came down to the crux of it, I wanted to play for Sydney FC. It'd be the biggest club, and obviously back then they were obviously a big club, and now they're the most successful club. So it was an easy decision to stay at Sydney FC. And then obviously in the later years, there's been a little bit of interest to go overseas and whatnot. But again, it didn't jump out at me. It would have taken something pretty significant, I suppose, to to get me away. I was always open to sort of trying something a little bit different, I suppose, in terms of a different culture or a different league. But in terms of playing in Australia, I'd never want to leave Sydney FC, and I'll stay as long as they're happy to have me.
Probably last one I'll ask. Where do you see your career going from here? You know, now that you've hit 300, you're continuing to set the benchmark for a Sydney FC player in terms of appearances and stuff. How long do you see yourself staying at the club, and what do you see yourself doing for the rest of that time?
It's a great question. It's a sort of a question I ask myself pretty regularly. I'm sort of getting a little bit older now. I think I'm 32 now. I've still got one more season next year. So after that I'll be 33. Hopefully the body holds up and I can continue to sort of earn my spot, I suppose, and play for another few years after that. And then it's anyone's guess after that. I'd love to obviously still be a part of football or part of Sydney FC if I can, but it's hard to say where it will be. But ideally, I'd love to stay at Sydney FC for the next few years. And obviously it's not about appearances and the rest of it, but if I can rack up some more games, and that goes hand in hand with staying around the club and playing for another few years, that would be awesome. And then after that, honestly, I'm not real sure. I don't know where I want to take sort of life after football, but we'll see what happens. But obviously love it being here, and if I could be tied up and involved in Sydney FC in any sort of way, that'd be awesome.
Your hairstyles, what's your favourite? Do you have one that, I mean, everyone remembers and loves the mullet.
Yeah.
Do you love it, or?
At the time I loved it. Looking back, I'm sort of a little bit, sometimes I see a photo or a video and I'm a bit like, oh. But it obviously created a lot of buzz for me and whatnot, so it served its purpose. But I'd probably have to, if I was going to rank them, a mullet would probably be the top. Last would be my very first, when I debuted, the mop I had on. That was horrific. Everyone at the time tried to tell me how bad it was, and I didn't believe them. But easily looking back now, it was a terrible decision. But there's been a few ordinary haircuts, but I'd probably have to say that the mullet takes the cake.
What's next in the hair?
There's not much left, to be honest, so I'm sort of hanging on at the minute. Hopefully I can hide it, the receding hairline, as long as possible, and then I might just have to go all out and shave it, but we'll see. Time will tell.